This is a fan-generated show. If you'd like to support us, please go to jamieglazov.com. Also, don't forget to subscribe to our new Rumble channel. All your support is greatly appreciated.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I'm thrilled to announce the release of my new book, Obama's True Legacy: How He Transformed America. There's a reason why Mike Huckabee calls it a ferocious and chilling read. Order it now at Amazon.com or at FrontPageMag.com. Good evening. Welcome to the Glazov Gang. Tonight, another fantastic program with two fantastic guests. Ladies and gentlemen, please remember we're a fan-generated program. We are under persecution by the deep state, being shadow banned and a whole bunch of other things. So please help us as much as you can. Go to YouTube and Rumble and subscribe to our channels. Press instant notifications. Go to jamieglazov.com and subscribe to our newsletter. And donate there if you can. And follow us on X at Jamie Glazov, on Facebook at Jamie Glazov. And make sure to continue supporting Annie Cyrus at liveuptofreedom.com. We have a very special program for you this evening. What an honor to have two very brave and courageous former dissidents from Iran. They agree very much with each other on the fight for freedom in Iran, on the necessity of overthrowing the Islamic Republic, but they disagree on the recent strikes that the U.S. and Israel launched on the Iranian regime. So we're looking forward to this very profound and interesting dialogue/debate this evening. So let's get to our guests. Our first guest is Elham Yaghoubian, a Tehran-born Iranian Jewish novelist who was a student activist in Iran who co-founded an underground party against the Islamic Republic before she escaped the country. She now lives in the United States. With us also is Roozbeh Farahanipour, an Iranian dissident who was jailed and tortured in Iran for his stand for freedom. Now, he actually co-founded with Elham the underground party against the Islamic Republic. He also escaped Iran and emigrated to the United States, where he has been for many years a political activist, entrepreneur, and community leader. Elham and Roozbeh, what an honor to have you on the program.
Thank you, Jamie, for inviting us.
Thank you, Jamie.
Thank you so much. Elham, did I get things relatively correct on the introduction of you?
Yes.
And Roozbeh, my introduction of you was satisfactory?
Of course.
Okay, but first, I find this kind of fascinating. Elham, I'll start with you for a minute. Tell me a little bit about this party that both you and Roozbeh started together, if I'm correct, because this is amazing that after all these years, we're meeting here on our show.
Yes, we both of us were involved with journalism. So through journalism, a few of us got together, start working together, writing about the situation in Iran. Then from the journalism, we decided to create an underground party. We turned it to the party. During the student uprising in 1995, our party was one of the leaders of this uprising, which ended up on the 5th day. They arrested my peers, including Roozbeh. Thankfully, I was not in that specific meeting. And it made me, I felt that I'm at risk. I left Iran, and Roozbeh was sentenced to death penalty he was in prison for longer time. Finally, on bail, he came out and had a chance to flee Iran. He joined me in LA after about, I think, a year. We opened an office in Los Angeles and continue our fight against the regime to do whatever we could to lobby against the regime, to be voice for the Iranian people, because those days we didn't have any social media. It was really limited information from inside. And that's why not so many people knows about student uprising in 1999, which was exactly yesterday was its anniversary. But it was the first time after the revolution that majority of the people start chanting against the government, against Khamenei. That was, I can tell you, that was for the first time. So when we were here active, we tried to explain the situation of about human rights in Iran, women's rights in Iran, minorities, and we to echo what people in Iran wants, which was regime change.
Elham, so you guys had this meeting one time with your underground party, and you had, but for one of those meetings you were not there, and then the police came. But if you had been there, you would have been arrested along with Roozbeh, right?
Yeah, I was in contact with them when they were in Roozbeh's home, which the meeting was, at his place. So
Yeah.
I didn't know they were there. I was just giving them news because it was for the first time we hear the Iran and Glorious Frontiers national anthem, the former national anthem, which was banned for decades. So that was the first time I've heard it from the TV, and I was so excited, expressing my excitement that see how they feel in danger, that now they are clinging on our national anthem, and so I didn't know that all my conversation is heard by the best the people over there.
Wow, that's amazing how fate works. Roozbeh, tell us a little bit about that, just starting the party together with Elham and then your arrest and what happened to you.
Yeah, that's we start the party. Like, as Elham mentioned, we started as a group of the journalists. We tried to be independent from the government. We tried to follow the nationalism and patriotism and Iran before Islam in Iran, and promoted with different kind of the media and newspaper and magazines and pamphlets. And we participate in different exhibition, different events, any places we could. We try to show up and try to gather the followers and supporters. And at one point, we realized we have enough followers and supporters, so we can convert it to a party. That's a underground party. We never ask for permission from the regime, and we always was threatened by the regime. But before that, student, they call it a student uprising. We call it 5 day uprising on 99. I think that's a glorious time of my life, and I feel Elham has the same feeling. The night before we got arrested by the regime, that was the night the Khamenei came to the TV and cried because of the people like us on that moment in Iran, shaking the foundation of the regime. So we, Elham, myself, and the other fellow people, they been active and leading that uprising. They try to keep it inside the regime. We move it outside of the regime. Actually, physically, we broke the door of the dorm, student dorm, mixed the student with the people on the ground, and then when the people broke into the Interior Secretary of the Islamic Republic, the footages is all over. And the night the Khamenei cried on TV, that was the glorious moment of my life. And I feel and I remember, I think the Elham was with us at that time when the Khamenei spoke at TV, and everybody cheered, and we were super happy. And we didn't know the next day IRGC gonna attack my home, they're gonna shot, and they arrest people at my home. I think that's 12 people from our party, including me. We got arrested, including few other people and guests. Even the people that was not Iranian, they got arrested at that moment at my home. So that was the start of the new chapter of our movement. I remember the day after I got arrested, I was in the interrogation cells. I think we explained it in one of the interview you and I we had it before, very in detail. When they took me to the interrogation room from my cell, on the way, I heard one of our colleagues, that's a female colleagues, she screamed and cried, that's under torture. I'm innocent, all was because of Roozbeh, and everything is because of Roozbeh. And at that moment, I scared for myself, and I feel bad for her. And that was the first time I'm facing my blindfolded, but they took me to the interrogation room and facing the interrogator with the closed eyes. And after, I don't know, that's a long time for me because I was scared. My eyes was blindfolded. The guy was interrogating me. You know, Roozbeh, you try to overthrow this regime. You know where you are? This is the intelligence ministry of Islamic Republic of Iran. The place, the rooster, we can milk the rooster and bear can lay eggs. So that was conversation started with that. So that was the horrible time in opposite side of the glorious time when we saw the Khamenei cry on TV. Even the President Trump and Netanyahu couldn't make him cry, but we make the Khamenei cry on TV.
That's amazing. It's an honor to be in the company of you two, such brave people, and kind of means something a little bit extra sacred to me because I come from parents that were dissidents in the Soviet Union. So I have so much respect for you. So just before we start this debate on what's happening, just want to just spend a little bit more time on the both of you here because you're such special people. Elham, knowing the viciousness of this regime, knowing you can get tortured or killed or many other terrible things, there are people who won't say anything and just go about their business, but you're the kind of person that took a stand, putting your life at risk. What made you this way?
It's a good question, but honestly, I don't know how to answer it. I think it's my nature, and part of it is because I was young, idealist. I was, full of thinking that I can make a change, make the world somewhere better. Since I was very young, I remember my father always telling me that we have to make the world a better place. This is a Jewish, Jewish thing that they believe to tikkun olam, make the world somewhere better. So that was, I grew up with this feeling to make a change. And maybe the time I was involved, I wasn't thinking how dangerous is my path because if I was in danger, I was on much more risk since I was Jewish, and they could easily label me with Zionist as they do it. And they published, after I left, they published many about my involvement and calling me the Iranian Zionist. So, but again, maybe that was because I was too young to think if what I'm doing is, how much is dangerous, the path.
Thank God for being young sometimes, right? Elham, not everybody writes a novel when they're 16 years old. And I think that this is interwoven here because at 16 you write your first novel, then another novel came, then another one came. But within your novels, you were addressing the issue of women, and so you were really taking a stand there in your own way. But how does a 16-year-old write a novel? You must have had a wonderful upbringing by very intelligent parents.
Yeah, since I was very young, my father and both my parents, especially my father, encouraged me to read book. I remember, when I was very young, maybe 7, 8 years old, when my mom was going for shopping, asking me what I want, I would ask him, "Can you buy me a book?" So I loved reading. I really enjoyed reading, and probably because of that, I started it grew in me. How I started writing, I think it was an accident. One day I was in school, my friend was absent. I was in the class, and I started writing something short, like short stories. But I feel that I want to continue, and I wrote, and it became a book. But all my books were focused on women's issue in Iran. So I was very sensitive about this. Even in my young age, I was very sensitive about what happened to our women in Iran. Iranian women considered as second citizen based on the constitution. So there are many limitations. Although they are one of the smartest in the region, they are one of the most educated women in the region. But they have the laws and everything is against them.
Wow. Thank you, Elham. Roozbeh, may I also ask you the same question? I mean, you ended up studying law at Islamic Azad University. You could have just kind of just said, yes, 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 just go be a lawyer and do safe things. But you put your life on the line and you were expelled from that university in 1993 due to your political activism. Just tell us a little bit about your heart and mind and what made you, put your life on the line for freedom.
Jamie, when the revolution happened, I was only 7. I remember after revolution. I remember the day of revolution. I saw the state TV change the slogan and they take the picture of the Shah from the wall off. Took the Khomeini's picture on the TVs. I remember as a kid. I remember those days. But 7, 8 days after revolution, my mom took me to the school. I was in the Catholic school at that time. That's a Don Bosco, the Italian Catholic school. On the way to the school, in the morning news, I remember still I was not aware what is going on. I heard the name of my mom's cousin, General Bidawadi, who was on the list of the morning execution list, because every morning on the news, one section, they announced the number of the people who got executed by the Revolutionary Guard Corps at that time. That was not the Revolutionary Guard Corps, but the Revolutionary Guard. At that time, and my mom started crying and asked the driver come back home. I came back home. I saw the home was everybody mourning and yelling, crying, and that was a horrible memory. That was the first time I facing the criminal of this regime. And few months after, I don't know, that's 2, 3 months, few months after, I remember I was a baby lion and the Boy Scout at my school. One day, these people, Revolutionary Guard, attacked my school, occupied my school, arrest the priests, arrest all of the principals, and actually they execute a couple of the priests from my school. That was, just imagine, 7-year-old facing occupation of the school and arresting the people who believe they are your leader, you are role models. And we really love that the school and teachers and principals and fathers. And one of the fathers actually that's escaped the country, and now he is Vatican. I'm sure I can follow and finding him one day. I can meet with him. Still, I have my picture with him when I was a kid. So that was another big shock for me. So to create a hate and growing hate in my inside of myself, and little by little, and few months after, my uncle they kick out of the navy. He was one of the MD admiral or at the navy. They kick him out, and he was sentenced to jail. He escaped the country. He was lives outside the country for many years. Then he smuggled back himself to country. That was a horrible situation. Back and forth. Many people around me they got arrested, and I remember as a kid. I don't know exactly the person who took me to the political activism. That was my grandma. My grandma name was Iran. She was very active person. She was ordinary woman, but she was very active. I remember when after revolution, from the day one, when the regime changed, she bumped her head and said, "The country going to be destroyed. I don't think we're going to have any chance. That's the end of the Iran and this and that." And she took me to the street when I was, I think, 9, 8, and she watching the street and asked me to put the slogan "Death to the Khomeini" on the walls and neighborhood all over. I remember those days, and she created me as an activist and trained me technically without
Wow.
knowledge. I remember when I was around the same age, I don't know, between 7 to 9, I don't know exactly when was that. One day, she asked me with my uncle went to the basement and asked some cement, mixed it with the water. Just I thought that we are playing and making the mixture. And I don't know why. Still, I don't know. She passed away, and my uncle passed away. I feel like that was a lots of the gun that was belonged to my uncle. They put it on the empty metal, that's empty bucket of the oil, and put the cement on there and put them in the trunk of the car. Put me on this second row as a kid to make sure if they have a stop sign, they see kid in the car and grandma and look like he was my dad, but that was my uncle. We go to destroy those guns. So little by little, for this reason, the hate grew with me, and I lost many different members of the family. I saw many people in the jail. My cousin got arrested, other cousin in the jail, they got raped. Then the dark summer of the 88, many members of our family, the closest one, that was my one of my cousin got executed in the Evin prison. So technically, until we escaped, I lost almost 20 people, close people cycled around me. They killed by regime. And obviously, this is between me and this regime is the big river of the blood. So
Well, my heart really goes out to you, Roozbeh, and of course to you as well, Elham. I can only imagine how many people you've lost, and just the torture that this evil regime has been perpetrating against your people. And so we would think that because it's an evil regime, that we would support strikes against this regime. And the U.S. Just joined Israel in strikes against this regime. And Elham, perhaps you and I might change Roozbeh's mind tonight, but let us see on this. But Elham, you begin first. I think you support what just happened, and think, but we'll talk about maybe whether there was a betrayal or they should have gone further. But you do support what they had tried to do, right?
Yeah, so let me start it with this, that when after Israel strikes, the opposition group divided somehow. I'm not talking about a group of people who are loyalists financially and institutionally connected to the regime. I'm talking about the opposition who are against the regime. So some division happened. A group of them that to me are the smaller group feel that this strike is attack to the national infrastructures, to the attack to the territorial of Iran. Our infrastructure is destroying. But another group, which I'm one of them, believe that none of these targeted attacks have been aimed at Iran's national infrastructures. They were military sites, command centers, the regime repression tools. They hit IRGC headquarters, drone factories, and facilities used to coordinate regional terrorism and internal suppression. The tools the regime used to silence opposition, suppress the population, and destabilize the region. So calling these Iranian infrastructures, I think, is misleading. These sites don't serve the Iranian people. They help the regime to survive. So which of these so-called infrastructures had actually served the interest of the Iranian? And if these facilities have only strengthened the regime and enabled more oppression, then they are not Iran's infrastructures. And if the Iranian people haven't benefited from them, then we shouldn't mourn their destruction. And for a second, let's agree that they were Iranian infrastructures. They can be rebuilt. What we cannot get back and cannot recover is life of all those girls and boys who are losing their lives every day because of this regime. Also, the first group say the foreign forces is attacking Iran. Are they really attacking Iran? I believe this is attack to Islamic Republic of Iran, because they are not considered as organic body of our nation. I believe Roozbeh agrees with me. So of course, if they're not, in this case, an outsider attacking, it's not the outsider attacking our country. It's two foreign powers fighting with each other, and this war between two foreign powers, one which is outsider, is actually closer to the Iranian people than the one ruling them. So again, to me, Israel isn't targeting the Iranian nation. It's targeting the regime that hijacked the country and brutalized this regime and built military infrastructure just to export terrorism, not to serve Iranian people. I think there are some other reason. I don't want to just jump into all the issues that we have disagreement on, but I believe one part of it is exactly the way we look at it, as if this is national infrastructures, Iranian infrastructures, or if it's the Islamic Republic regime infrastructures.
I see. Roozbeh, go ahead.
Okay, I'm gonna mention a couple of things before I start. First of all, I feel like I'm a retired Iranian opposition. I'm not an active leader anymore, and more I'm active on my local community and American side. I'm very active on the American politics and serving the American taxpayers. So this is a disclaimer for me. And second, I'm sure the Israel have a right to defend itself. But in this particular case, I think they had a big misunderstood or misleading by some group of the people, and they lost the concept. On this attack, I 100% agree with Elham, and actually, we, as our party, was the first party called Islamic Republic as a occupied government in Iran, and we are the first group. We always try to educate international community. You and I, we had a long record in our interviews talking about differences between Iran and Islamic Republic of Iran. They are two different entities, talking about the changing the flag and this and that. But on the response to Elham, first of all, I don't think anyone, or at least I can talk about myself, when I saw that 8 IRGC general got killed, I was not mad. Actually, I got happy. Someone needs to be eliminate them from the face of the earth. I think the earth without them is a better place for everyone. But when the Israeli attacked Iran, so some of the military target that hit, but many civilian targeted, they got hit, including the jail, Evin prison. They had a good intention. They tried to open the prison, but unfortunately killed many prisoners in the prison. They hit the hospital. That was not only Israelis. Islamic Republic hit the Israeli hospital in Israel too. And many civilians got killed from both sides. That's which make me more mad. I remember I lived 8 years under the war between Iraq and Iran. And I remember the day that Saddam Hussein attacked Tehran. They started with our hometown, that Elham and I'm sure Elham remember those days too. That was a horrible experience. I don't want any other people. They have a same experience we had. 8 years lives under the fear, and we just waiting to hear the explosion noise and make sure, okay, thank God that was my neighbor, that was not me. This is a very bad feeling. Still, I have a PTSD from those days. I remember when the war between the Saddam Hussein and Khomeini started. Khomeini started and talking about, I'm not fighting against Iranian nation. I don't want to fight against Iran. I'm fighting against the devil Khomeini. And we have some group of the opposition supporting me, like the MKO and few other group of the even nationalist group. They supporting the Saddam Hussein. They took over their Radio Iraq for propaganda and so and so. But the result was 8-year war, 1.5 million people got killed in Iran, plus some Iraqi got killed over there. Many people got imprisoned in Iran and Iraq both. They execute many people, tortured. That was an act against the humanity from both sides. And at the end, we didn't have any happy ending after the 8-year war. And then after Khomeini died, Khomeini became a power and became a supreme leader, second generation of the Ayatollahs. And they continue the same policy, hating the US, hating the Israel. And obviously, if I was an Israeli, if I was in shoes of the Bibi Netanyahu, I was feel nervous every day when the Friday prayer, they chanting death to the Israel, death to the America, and also they said we want to wipe out Israel from face of the map. So obviously we need to think about that side of the story as well. But the thing that's when the Netanyahu start, I feel like he got misled, but the Iranian Chalapi, the son of a Shah, who is misleading him, and he told Israeli intelligence services, if you attack Iran, the people come to the street, they bring my pictures, everybody chant, long live the king, king back to Iran, this kind of stuff, and they're going to overthrow the regime. Unfortunately, that's misleading. Make the Netanyahu did the same mistake that Saddam Hussein did in the beginning of the war. He said, my war is not with the Iranian people, that's only with the devil Khamenei this time, not Khomeini. An Iranian opposition, that means the son of a Shah and few other people, his followers, they are supporting the monarchies back to Iran. They are supporting the operations. And instead of the Radio Iraq, another TV station, Iran International, they become a propaganda tools for them to talk about these issues. And after 12 days, and actually after first week of the war, they realized, okay, that was some miscalculation. They asked for help from the US. The President Trump, the person who got elected with the slogan of the peace, he never wants to drag to any war. He forced to drag to the war. As he explained, he tried to stop the war with the operation of the US in Iran. And somehow looked like he was successful, because the last things happened after the US attack Fordow and other sites. At least we have a ceasefire for now. So this miscalculation, they create this chaos. We have a two scenario in front of us. It looks like the regime survived. The survival of the regime, we help to create another little North Korea in Iran at the moment. And they try to censor, they cut the Iranian access to the international internet. They try to become a more fascism and dark theocracy, and killing the execution of the people with no reason. Already start killing the people with labeling they are spying for Israel. Is not the first time. I get many of these labels. Yet still I have a death sentence on my head. So if the regime survive, we're gonna facing the mass killing of the people. We're gonna facing another little North Korea in Iran. We're gonna see the Iran or Islamic Republic, not Iran, get leaning more toward the Chinese imperialism, and Russia. They make the new coalition, and North Korea already they announced it, and we've been very close. These people, they don't have any moral. They could create a chaos in the world. They can start a World War III. In the good scenario, if the Israeli attack could overthrow this regime, what was we facing? We're facing one failed Chalapi, the son of a Shah, who was not able to even run the small fruit cart on the street in last 40 years, so who cannot run the country, obviously. And we are facing another Iraq or Afghanistan or Libya or Syria. Many people said, oh, Syria is stable. Too soon to talk about it. Just give them a time. We're going to see. In Afghanistan, takes 20 years for 4 or 5 presidents, thousands of American lives, and tens of the billions of dollars, the US taxpayers' money, to replace Taliban with Taliban. For Syria, it's too early to talk about it. And then, if that was not a good plan, probably if we're going to follow the President Clinton foreign policy plan, we're going to make the Iran as a Balkan and chop the country in pieces. Chopping the country into pieces, they're going to change the entire map of the region. Is not going to, that's like the domino. If the Iran going to be chopping the pieces, they're going to, if it affect Iraq going to be chopping the pieces. Turkey, they're going to be affected. Syria going to be affected. And we're going to have another chaos. We don't know if we're going to facing the a stabilized region, or we need to dealing with instead of the 3-4 countries, 4 crazy government, we are dealing with the 20 different crazy uncivilized group. They are running the countries. So that was my fear. And as I said, most importantly, the life of the civilians. And doesn't matter in Iran or Israel, I don't like the civilian get killed. And that was not a successful operation at all. We saw that, and I think everybody admit that was not good for any side. And on the American side, still, as a taxpayers, as a business leader, I don't want even $1 of the American taxpayers spent on the war, other side of the globe, when 2 other countries, they have a conflict. And I think the President Trump, during the campaign, mentioned this many, many times. And he said, I'm the only president, I'm not create a war. I'm going to make sure the taxpayer money is not spent on this kind of operations.
Yeah. Elham, go ahead.
Jamie, he brought up so many
Yes.
things that I don't know where I should start it. First of all, no one with conscience thinks that war is an option. I don't think anyone was looking for it. And I don't think that Bibi Netanyahu or Trump listened to anyone. Yes, I believe among all the countries, Israel is the only country who wants to see regime change. They send many messages for a regime change, but they repeated over and over that they cannot do the regime change. It has to happen from inside. And this is what we all believe in that. I believe this opportunity, this bombing, the bombing doesn't bring freedom, doesn't change the regime, but the bombing would cause this regime to collapse. Now even the loyal individual of this regime are losing their trust, thinking if they couldn't protect themselves, how they can protect us. So every day for the last 46 years, we were witnessing that people step by step realizing that the only way for democracy and finding freedom is a regime change. No reforms. In reforms is a dead end. They're not gonna go anywhere. So. And now the majority part of those who were loyal to the government, they are losing their faith as well. So I don't think Netanyahu listened to anyone for such attack. Netanyahu real after October 7th and after in fact, I believe today some information came out that somehow they were working on this. Attack for a long time after October 7th. So they realized that the regime is expediting to get to access to nuclear bombs. So they realized that they don't have time. They had to do that. That was one thing that I wanted to say. The other thing, I don't believe that the United States wanted, of course, Israel is U.S. allies, and U.S. wanted to or have always support their allies. But I don't think President Trump attacked Natanz because of Israel. And it was not even for the Iranian people, although maybe it was a gift to Iranian people, but it was not because of Israel or Iranian people. For 46 years, the Iranian regime, called United States a great Satan, killed thousands of Americans, both civilians and military personnel. They send their agents to our borders. Just a week ago, U.S. intelligence confirmed active Iranian plot to assassinate President Trump. which was funded through a campaign operation. Just I don't know if you follow the news. The regime allows the official newspaper at Kayhan to openly call for attacks on American soil. And the other thing, like I believe, and yes, yeah, a couple of weeks ago, they were threatening United States that we will active our sleeping cells in the United States. It's threat to the United States. Our citizens, U.S. citizens, were attacked. You've heard about Jamshid Sharma. They kidnapped him and killed him. He was a U.S. person. So I believe President Trump didn't want to make the same mistake President Clinton did with while he could stop North Korea to gain the nuclear capability, but they ignore it, and now we are dealing with this current North Korea. So that's what I think. That our taxpayer money doesn't go for Iranian people. Our tax money goes to protect the United States and United States allies.
Thank you, Elham. Elham and Roozbeh, let's just keep going here. I hate to interfere, but when we're speaking, let's just try going forward now, maybe 2, 3, 4 minutes and let the other person go. And that way we can volley a little bit back and forth instead of longer.
Jamie, can I add something else? Because I just remembered that when I was talking about sleeping cells, during Obama administration, 2,500 visas were issued to the agents of the Islamic Republic and their family members. And those people infiltrated in US campuses, teaching positions, and key institutions, spreading propaganda, influencing policy from within. So again, I'm trying to say, President Trump, whatever he did, it's to protecting the United States.
Well, you're stressing that striking Iran is also being America first. Roozbeh, go ahead.
Yes. So first of all, I believe that President Trump believed everything to support the American people, not doubt about it. And Elham talked about the many different things. I didn't mention that reform is an option. Not only in our long interviews with Jamie Glazov, even in 2002, that was on the first open and on the front page on National Review, I had an article that was the reform is not an answer, or Mullah can't be reformed. That was from then. Elham and I, both of us, we know this regime cannot be reformed. We're working on the regime change. I think the people get closer to regime change. The distance between the people and the regime, that was big. The issue with the war, I agree with Elham, some element from the regime, falling from the regime, but in other side, mass of the people, they are gathered around the regime as a normal reaction of the human beings when they get attacked by the foreigner. And we saw the regime, even that's a joke in Iranian people. If the Israel attack one more time in Iran, on the operation in Iran, the Islamic Republic gonna have that Nowruz festival or celebrate the 2500 monarchy in Iran, because they become total not true. That's a fake nationalism propaganda on every single part of the regime. I believe the only way the international community they could support to regime change, support Iranian movement, don't interrupt them every time the people get close to overthrowing the regime, either West or European or world leader step in and save the regime, including the Elham mentioned the President Obama. During the Obama time, the regime got saved by Obama once or maybe more than once. And Elham talked about the green cards gifted to the regime by the Obama administration. At least few of us we know I was the target by that administration in favor of the regime. So that was the many different angle they drag to this conversation, and the only way we can support the regime change through the um, tools we have internationally, targeted sanction. Elham and I working on the sanction, targeted sanction on Iran in many, many different ways, many years. One of the most successful one that was AB 221 in California. They done by the state of California. Then for the state of the U.S., they follow the California. That was the only time I think that California lead the country on the good phase, and also with the targeted sanction and individual from the regime, if they can deport and kick out the family member of the regime from not only in the United States, Canada, and the West. The lobby group they chop the hand of the octopus of the lobby group of the regime, money laundry of the regime, many different things. I was front runner of against the propaganda of the regime in LA. I was targeted by many lobbyist group, um, including even at my local neighborhood council. I was working and supporting the enforcing the sanction and shut down the businesses who are working with the regime on 2014. That was featured in the lots of the media, including interview with you, Jamie.
Yeah.
So many different things that's going to come, and we could use them to isolate regime and help the people, empower the people to overthrow the regime. But now, instead of that, we push the regime, instead of pulling the people to our side, pushing them to get around the uh, shaking pillar of the regime and saving the foundation of this regime. That's going to take long time for us to back to a stage of the night before the war, on the time the regime almost don't have any supporters in regime in Iran. And the normal people, I'm not talking about the regime officials, the people on the street, when you're talking to them, the people on the villages, that's the borders, the different province in the Baluchistan, always that was under, they lives under the poverty. The regime always didn't care about them in the Bushehr, in Bandar Abbas, Khorasan, Tabriz. So that takes a long time for the people to back to the day before attack on the time so they can continue to fight against the regime.
Thank you, Roozbeh. Sorry. Let's let Elham go.
I want to say that for the 46 years, we Iranian people stood up. They rose to make a change. Every time they stand, they kill them, torture them, put them in prison. So only 2 years ago, we noticed that the women life freedom happened. So we saw at how people got united. But at the same time, we saw that this regime, for their own survival, they didn't care about people. They killed them. They blinded them in the streets. All these young boys and girls were killed. How the change would happen? So I don't think it's very idealistic to think that one day the regime will end. In fact, Roozbeh was right. We worked so hard to do lobby against any kind of military attack. I was going to DC. I was new with like limited access. I was traveling to DC to just to let the policymakers know it's wrong to think about military attack because it caused people to get united and go towards the regime and make the regime more powerful. But the situation is changed. Since women life freedom, the situation is changed. And the poverty line right now, the problem in Iran is not only freedom. The major issue in Iran is economy. People are hungry. They cannot feed their children. 30%, it's not only the rural or Balochistan, Kurdistan. Even in Tehran, there are large population of people living under poverty. The official record shows 30%, but we know it's 50 or 60% of people are And when I was talking to people in Iran, I was hearing that before this strike, they would say, just tell United States come and attack. And I was surprised. How come you say such a thing? You are a nationalistic person. How come you're talking about such a thing? And they were so desperate to just say we don't have anything else to lose.
Yeah, Elham, 1 second. So there's just a couple themes here. So Roozbeh saying, look, this shouldn't be done externally. We need to let the Iranian people, the Persian people, do this on their own. You're saying they've tried to do this for 46 years. The West keeps betraying them. The regime is too fascistic and strong. It has to come from the outside. So,
I'm not saying, no, Jamie, I'm not saying I has to come. I
I'm sorry.
say that it's right now we have an opportunity. The tools of this regime is collapse. They don't even trust each other anymore. Even the officials, they don't trust each other. The IRGC headquarters, the Basij headquarters are collapsed. So that's the good opportunity.
Okay, 1 second. So Elham, we have a golden moment here where there were the strikes, and then all of a sudden, you know, I love Trump, but then I find out the evidence seems to suggest that he stopped Netanyahu, he stopped them from attacking certain things. There was a kind of betrayal there somewhere. Then Trump seemed to make a turnaround and start saying he's against regime change. This is a great betrayal, the way that I see it. But where Roozbeh is correct in the sense of do not leave a wounded beast. If you're going to do it, you got to get rid of the beast. Now that beast is wounded. Now I'm going to go back and ask Roozbeh if he would support it if they did it the right way. But Elham, I think we're all worried that they've left a wounded beast in power and they've thrown yet another lifeline to the mullahs, right?
That's why we are against any kind of negotiation at this moment. And I want to say, Roozbeh mentioned why people in Iran during the strike didn't go to street. This is really naive to think that we can ask people to go to the street, demonstrate against the regime while another power is attacking.
Well, they're saying that there's...
Call them Zionists. They have excuse to kill them.
But Elham, they're saying that there's the fascist mullah Gestapo is almost on every single block, terrorizing people coming out of their homes, looking at their phones and throwing them into prison. So there's a very, very ruthless crackdown during the strikes, right?
Yeah, but I want to say you know there was no other alternative. For 46 years we tried every every possibilities, but it didn't go anywhere. Now this regime is weak, and this is, as you mentioned, that's a golden moment that for Iranian people, if the West, United States doesn't sit with this regime, doesn't give them some chance to survive.
You know, there's some kind of powers that be in the world, in powerful places, that want these fascist mullahs in power, and it's so tragic. Roozbeh, go ahead.
First of all, Elham, don't give up, don't lose the hope. The regime gonna fall someday. But look at the history, 46 years, takes 20 years until the day you and I and many others in the street, we chant, the 20 years is over, revolution started. Just remember those days. The first day we chanting against the Khamenei on the street together. Since then, how much did the movement radicalize every single time the people come to a street? Compare our movement to 2009 Green Movement, compare that to the Urban Movement, compare that to the Women Life Freedom Movement. Every single time the movement get more radicalized. Every time some group, I don't want to say betrayed people because the people shouldn't rely on anyone, but obviously on Green Movement, when the people chanting in the street, Obama, Obama, are you with them or with us? That was the time the people chanting for help from outside, which they feel like they got betrayed, but I don't think so, because the US job is not go there to free the people in Iran. And Also, this time in Women Life Freedom, the people get very close. They try to create a cartoon of the Louis George here and create a sit the opposition together, create a leadership council or something like that. That was many different opposition leaders, including the son of a Shah was in them. And that was the person who destroyed that council and he tried to destroy that movement. In this movement,
Roozbeh, why me and you are here? Why we are not in Iran fighting? The moment they found out that we are their enemy, we could be a leader to make a change. They threaten us with, they put us in a situation to escape from Iran. So
that's
meaning it's impossible.
every
A
single
leader,
movement,
a
every
leader,
single movement, they little by little get radicalized. The new
how long more?
generation come.
How long more?
If we wanna still going with the formula and mind we had 25 years ago, 26 years ago, if we wanna doing the same thing, try the same thing, we think that was right, we're gonna get same result. We need to let the new generation, the new kids on the street of the Iran, they think and they try to overthrow this regime. And if we're gonna look into it, there is not necessary. We can copy and paste any other scenario from other country to help the people of Iran.
Roozbeh, Roozbeh, is this analogy wrong? The inmates of Auschwitz, Buchenwald, Dachau during the Second World War, to sit back and say, hey, liberate yourselves. If we were in those concentration camps and the Allied soldiers were coming in and rescued them, isn't this somewhere a little bit the same that we've got? I mean, for us just to sit back, and by the way, I apologize. You're the freedom fighter. You guys are the freedom fighters. I'm not from Iran. I'm just putting this on the table that what I see is a Gestapo fascist regime that's torturing its people daily. It's so strong. And if there's going to be some external strikes that can weaken this regime and it's done right, then maybe that's something we have to support, Roozbeh.
Jamie, first of all, that's you have a human sense. You talk about the people in Iran, but all world leaders, nobody think and care about Iranian people. Everybody think about their own interests, which I think I agree. When the Bibi Netanyahu every day is scared and worried, the regime wants to wipe out Israel from the face of the map, he should think about some sort of the reaction. I understand that part. But why should the Bibi think to free the people of Iran from the mullahs for the benefit of the Iranian people? If you want to do any military invasion, that's for benefit of the Israeli country and nationalism, which I think that's going to be the right answer.
Roozbeh, 1 second. Let's just hypothetically, let's say when they just attacked Iran just now, Israel attacks, Trump sends in the U.S. bombings and stuff, but they kept it going. They kept it going, and they did it more powerfully. They escalated it. And then the Iranian people, 1 second, then the Iranian people hypothetically would have come out, overthrown the regime. Would you have said, yes, I support what happened?
I don't think the result is going to be the result you are looking for. You don't want to see another Iraq or Afghanistan or Syria or Libya in the region.
But the Persian people are different from the Arab people.
But Afghanistani people, they are not Arab. And Iraqi people, 1/3 they are Kurdish people, 1/3 they are Persian, and 1/3 they are Arab language people. They are not Kaldani, they are not Arab anyways. But that's the result of the military attack. The best scenario, the Chalapi said, if you want to attack Iraq, bombing Iraq, the people come to the street, overthrow the Saddam Hussein, and they're going to put the red carpet for you.
But wait, then Roozbeh, then you're against overthrowing the regime, not just from the outside, but even if Iranians do it, because you're saying there's going to be too much chaos.
People overthrow the regime, they're going to replace them themselves. If the military attack going to go wipe out the Khamenei, we don't know. The IRGC going to take over the power. Ahmadinejad going to take over the power. We're going to facing the anarchy. We don't have anyone
Okay.
to replacing them.
And
Let's let Elham go. Elham, go ahead.
every day this regime is in power, we are losing $400 million every single day. The money that can help these Iranian people who live,
Wait, what do you mean by that? Wait, who's losing this money? Sorry.
Iranian people, because they are spending this money on proxies, on things that
Oh,
it's
I
not
see.
for the
Okay.
Iranian people.
Okay.
Being in power costs Iranians $400 million per day. Also, we are talking about rising people from inside. You think it's difficult for this regime to kill people in only they killed 1,500 people only in few days. In women life freedom, at least what we know, around 600 people were killed. And every day, still, they hang some people who were arrested during women life freedom. So people are dying every day. It's sad. It's sad. Of course, it's sad. But people are, and comparing Iran with Afghanistan and Iraq is a big mistake. Iran is a nation state, never colonized, with the deep historical and cultural root, versus Iraq and Afghanistan, who were post-colonial countries with some borders that led to deep ethnic and sectarian divisions. In Iraq, we have Sunnis versus Shias versus Kurd. In Afghanistan, we have Pashtuns, Tajiks, Hazara, and a few others that I don't remember their names. So, and Iranian nationalism transcends ethnic divisions to a greater extent. We saw that during Women Life Freedom, how people from Baluchistan, from Kurdistan, from everywhere, they were united asking for one thing.
Yeah,
So
wait.
it's very different. And let me complete it. And Iranians, are more educated, at least to the time that U.S. attacked Iraq and Afghanistan. Iranians were more tax savvy. Iranians in abroad are more politically involved, and so I don't think Iranian women are more educated and more pro, and Iranian people, majority of them are more secular, versus like Afghanistan. Still, Taliban has followers in Afghanistan. So comparing Iran with any of these countries is a big mistake.
Right, 1 second. So wait, Roozbeh. So when I said exactly what Elham said, when I said that Persians are not Arab, what I wanted to add there, I've met a lot of Persians the last 20 years. I haven't met one that wants to scream Allahu Akbar. They don't seem to be very Muslim-minded. I think we need to keep this in mind, and that's what Elham's also saying. Go ahead, Roozbeh.
Okay, Elham, you and I, we know very well the country financed separatists in Iran, including his Democratic Party of Kurdistan, Azeri separatists, Al-Ahwazis, Baluch separatists. That's Israel. It's not new. That's many, many years they financed them, they supporting them, they organize them. That if anything happened, Iran fall to the with the military invasion, those people who got financed by Israeli, they get the power. Even that's one of the leaders of the Muttahid. He said, as soon as the regime fall, we could take over the control of the Kurdistan. So already they are ready to take over the power and separate the province.
But they are not powerful. They are not powerful. They are small groups. You cannot say all Kurds are separatists, all Turks are separatists. There are a group of people probably. And I disagree with you when you say that Israel support these people to promote separatism. They probably use them to fight with the Islamic regime. So they
all of the option on the table. The Israelis should have all option on the table. I'm not disagree with them because they are in the war with the regime. They should have
divided. Iran doesn't have benefit for Israel. Israel wants to deal with a powerful country, to deal with a powerful. Why he wants to have?
Because you don't want to have the dealing with the powerful country and the neighbor. If turnover, that's another revolution comes. and another puppet Shah overthrown, another fundamental group to come to the power. They don't facing this in the future. They want to chop it into pieces. They're gonna live in the peace, which I understand that part. But the thing is, if they're gonna
How did you get to this information? Because many times, yeah, there are individuals in the Knesset probably mentioned like we have to support this, like some US council members who support Mujahideen versus this person or that person. So these people are not representative of the government. So if one person says such a thing, it's not represented Israeli government, or it doesn't, because they cannot, control people, as they cannot control the Arab parliament members who sat with Hamas while they are Arab Israeli parliament members. So in democracy, sometimes democracy is not really good either. So, but in their democracy, people are free to say whatever they want.
democracy, 6 months, maybe the government administration change, another prime minister come to the power, they can empower them and supporting them. They go with a different plan. If the Bibi don't like it, maybe next prime minister, they rather to have another plan. So democracy is a two-way street. It's not going to be one-way street, especially
So until we don't have fact, it's like thinking about right now. We know that this regime has power and is suppressing people, killing people, torturing people with no reason. They arrested 700 people only for the last couple of weeks with no reason. Ordinary people. This regime knows these ordinary people didn't have information to give the Israel about the location of these officials. So, but they arrested them. So every day they are in danger. All those cameras, it was before attack. They were monitoring every moment, every move of the Iranian people. So Iranian people are living under suppressive government with no freedom, with no tools to live basic life. So yes, it's sad, but we cannot wait. We cannot wait for another 20 years. Another 2 generations goes to lose their lives for one day Iranian people from inside do something. It would be ideal, really ideal. But with slogans and with idealism, we cannot solve the issue.
I agree with you. We don't want to wait 20 more years. But unfortunately, this attack on Iran or Islamic Republic, they delayed the movement and they gave excuse to the government, the Islamic Republic, to mass arrest the people, like exactly happened on the 88, the dark summer of the 88. They execute 30,000 people with exactly the same excuse. They have it now. Hopefully, we are not going to see another dark summer this year. They arrest 700 people. They probably arrest more people. They're going to execute more people because they have an excuse right now. They are living under the war situation. They are not going to go under the regular system. They can execute whatever they want. And this war delayed the movement. I don't want to say 20 years, at least they delay for a long time. And hopefully the people wake up soon and separate the line with the government, and they can stand in front of the government instead of supporting them, coming to the street and supporting the regime, which until the day before they betrayed, they escaped from the government, they tried to overthrow them.
1 second. Roozbeh, you're saying that these U.S. and Israeli strikes strengthened the regime and delayed the liberation of the Iranian people?
Yes, because the people gathered to our regime, natural reaction for the people when the foreign invasion happened. We saw even on the different outlets, pictures, video, footages comes, the people gather around the regime.
But they're not doing that sincerely. Elham, you disagree. Elham, you're saying your argument is that the vast majority of Persian people are not going to change their minds and that they're against the regime, right?
I want to tell you that the messages I received from Iran is totally different. We saw many people went to the roofs and did slogans and motto against the regime, against Khamenei, against dictatorship. Not even a single slogans against Israel. So I'm not talking about the loyalists. I'm talking about the Iranian people. The Iranian people, so far, we didn't see anything to show and to prove that they see Israel as an enemy. They see it as it's someone who is. We saw all these, like, they created so many jokes, many songs showing their support for Israel. And I think what we are witnessing is a collapse not only from external pressure but from internal separation. So these attacks and crumble the regime, and a big group of their supporters, they, as I mentioned before, they realize that if they cannot protect themselves, how they can protect us. So they start making some separation from the government. I don't believe they became closer. Because if that was the case, we wouldn't see all TV, all the media using Iranian national symbols to unite people. They even broadcast singers in Los Angeles who were banned for decades. They broadcast their songs in regime's TV. So it shows that how desperate they are. If they were strong, they wouldn't do such a thing.
Okay, let Roozbeh go. Let Roozbeh go.
Okay, Elham, exactly the fact you mentioned, they shows the Islamic Republic is smarter than opposition. They use the fact they can gather people around themselves, pull the people from the middle toward themselves with the nationalism, instead of the opposition group try to pull the people. The people in the middle, they are in the middle. The job of the opposition to loosen the legs of the regime and pillars, they need to pull the people toward themselves. It's not going to go with the QR code on the TV station. Please fill out the form. We're going to separate from the regime. These childish excuses and play to get a fund from the different country, that's not going to help to loosen the regime. And people around the regime, they can lose more.
What is the alternative? What is the alternative?
Alternative right now, I think, I don't want to say too late, never give up, but we already facing this damage already happened. We need to do the damage control. At the damage control, the regime tried to do the damage control for themselves. They tried to go use the national anthem and this and that to support and gather people around themselves. The people of the opposition and the people outside, they need to be educating the people. First of all, they need the opposition groups. They need to separate themselves from the invader to the country. They said, okay, they did it for their own cause. We don't know. We don't want to be involved. We want to support the Iranian people. We want to support the movement. We already understand. We know how feel the bomb. We know how people lives under the war. We need to find a common ground with the people on the ground over there. We need to see what's the pain they're suffering. We find the same thing and try to keep the people in the middle. First of all, not joining the regime. And the second part, we need to try to move the people naturally from the regime supporters, or as you said, the loyalists, to leave the loyal to regime, become a loyal to the opposition group or movement. I don't want to say opposition group because
they are all idealistic. They are all idealistic, like slogans. What we can do right now to make a change, if there was no military attack that to
Elham, you are idealistic. You don't have a power of the war or bombing Iran at the moment to overthrow the regime, because Bibi is not listening to you. Trump is not listening to you.
Of course not. I never said that they did. I never said they did it for us.
I'm idealistic. So as much as you like to overthrow the regime with the force of the bomb, I feel like to me, that's idealistic. I feel like if we educate the people, try to hand the experience and all of the tools we have to the people to organize themselves. If we cannot find the group or main opposition groups, we need to go with the Ceausescu's model. The people come to a street, overthrow the regime, then they find their own alternative. So
Oh
that's
my
the
God.
best thing.
Okay, let Elham go.
Honestly, in fact, I think our dialogue doesn't go anywhere because the only thing that Roozbeh and me are agree on is peace doesn't come from appeasement, appeasing tyrannies, and negotiation with this regime is not an option. Right now, I think the only thing that Roozbeh and I agree is we have to put our pressure to convince West. I don't know if we can do it, but I just wanted to say negotiating with this regime is just giving them tools to survive another decades.
And bombing the people in Iran, they survive the regime and create another North Korean cartoon country in the region, threaten internationally or inter
It was
region.
not bombing people, it was targeted attacks, and
Even
unfortunately,
prison that was not.
some civilians died. But I want to quote one of the prisoners' voice, which came out from the prison. He is a political activist. He said, "They didn't come to kill us. They came to ruin the system." This is the voice out from prison saying that he didn't
But that
say a
was not
word
the same
against the
prison.
Israel or about bombing.
That was not
He
the same
said they didn't
prison.
come to kill us.
Elham, that was not the same prison. The Israeli rocket hit it. That was even prison 219 and women prison. They killed the people. And I think my info, they shows around 30 people died with the Israeli attack. And the
Are you
regime
talking
announced,
about those interrogators who interrogated the prisoners and tortured the prisoners? You are one of the victims. You have to know all those people
what
who
about the
are
people
working
in the
for this
cells?
government,
The
who
woman,
torturing, interrogating the
what is
people
the
are their hand is bloody
you
as
believe
well.
no prisoner died with the US, the Israeli attack?
I have no idea. I don't have any
I do have
valid
an idea. I
record.
have an idea. 35 people got killed, and regime announced 85 people killed. Regime killed another 50 people, added to the Israeli victims, and added announced it because that created excuse to kill 50 more people, added to the list of the people who got killed by the US,
So
by the Israeli officials.
I just
Or
trust
Tahrir Square.
valid.
Tahrir Square
I
was
just
that civilian.
trust worthy information. I don't trust information comes from the Islamic Republic. I don't the same way I
Not
never
Tahrir.
Just wait. Roozbeh, just wait. Let Elham.
killed by Hamas from Hamas, who were giving us totally different numbers of casualties. So I only trust that information comes from the valid sources. So far, I didn't get any information from valid sources. If any civilians died, I'm so sorry. That's not we want, but unfortunately, freedom doesn't come free. We have to.
What about
It's
Tahrir
the only
Square?
way
Elham?
to
What
gain
about
freedom.
Tahrir Square? Tahrir
I'm
Square,
sorry.
Tahrir Square, Tahrish.
Still, I have no idea what's the we got so many different
I had an
versions from
eyewitness there.
inside.
I had an eyewitness there when the missile attacked Tahrir. I had a witness there.
Yeah, but we have the okay. Said I don't trust. I want valid information. That's it.
So I trust my sources and I talk to them. They've been there. I talked to one of our common friends, journalists. One of the sisters got killed on one of the region when the missiles attacked across the street. She was in the market. She got killed too. So that's many civilians got killed. War is not free. War is not going to be just knocking the door of the targeted. When they even attack the targeted sources, they got to kill civilians. I don't think that's
The
people.
same civilians are killed every day, hanged every day in prisons of Islamic Republic of.
If
As long
they
as
want
we
to do the
have
same
this
thing, what's the
government in
difference between
power,
us?
we are losing people.
If we
We
are
are losing young
supporting,
people.
if we are supporting the Israeli kill the civilian, what's the difference between us?
I
So they
never
are
supported. No, 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 no. I never ever supported killing any civilians. What I said, I just quoted one of the prisoners, and when I'm saying I have proof. I have the voice, which is out and it's broadcast by valid medias. He said they didn't come to kill us. He just came to ruin this the system. So
Did he talk to Netanyahu? Netanyahu told him, I come to ruin the system, not you. He is a prisoner. How he had the information sources to talk to Netanyahu, and Netanyahu
Correct.
told him.
Okay, one second. Roozbeh and Elham, I'm so sorry. I find myself in a bit of a difficult position because I don't want to interfere. And then at the same time, I'm worrying if I'm not being fair or etc. But just one second. Roozbeh, what if the Persian people rose up, did it themselves, but civilians still unfortunately had to die? Surely you recognize that whether it's from the outside or even internally, innocent people die. And our heart...
I believe in that the people should pay the price themselves. They shouldn't let someone foreigner come kill them to give them a freedom. If the people they come,
But Roozbeh, what if this day never comes? It's been a half century. What if imprisoned, enslaved people need some help from the outside?
as you said, the Persian people and Iranian people are different. Every time the people get close to overthrow the regime, someone from outside came and saved the regime instead of helping the people. That was the difference. And this time as well, at the end, we saw the regime saved the Khamenei in the power. And he's
Okay.
going to have more dictatorship, killing more people. They gave them excuse to label the people as a spy and so and so.
Right. I think we've made our arguments just because we're going to move on. But just let me make sure everybody got their point across. So Elham, is there something you want to say?
No, nothing more.
Okay. Yeah, I think we've got the main. So what I want to ask Elham, why it seems that the West and the powers that be for a half century want these, sorry for the, I wanted to say bastards. I'm sorry, this is supposed to be a family show, but they want to keep these SOBs in power. Why?
I think it's not because they want them to be power. I believe they don't understand the nature of this regime. Still, they don't know who they are dealing with. They see that like today they are changing their tones. Oh, maybe they change their mind, but no, they change their faces, but they don't change by nature. I believe the lack of knowledge about the nature of this regime is the main issue. Because
Just a sec, I would disagree. One second. You think that the powers that be are keeping these SOBs in power because of naivete? I think it's because of malice.
I think if they know the true nature of this regime, if they know, okay, today they are weak, so they can put them on their seat for a couple of years, 5 years, 10 years, they can handle it. But the problem is they don't know if they gonna go back, rebuild their nuclear, rebuild their capabilities, and even now that they are under attack, they are still threatening the world.
One second, Elham. When Obama empowered the mullahs, when he sent that cash, when he unfroze all that stuff, he's not doing that because he's naive. He's doing it because...
They don't care about Iranian people. They don't care about the human rights. They just want a government who is weak and they can control them.
But there's something evil there too.
What can I say? Maybe on the other side, if I look at it, I would say each country thinks about their own interests and own people, and they don't. But the problem was, like during Obama, we never wanted Obama to interfere in Iran's business. That the change had the same thing that Roosevelt says. We are expecting the real change comes from inside. What we had problem was sitting with them, negotiating with them, sending them money, and make them more powerful.
Okay.
The same thing right now, we are asking President Trump, please don't negotiate with this regime. They are not trustworthy.
Roozbeh, why does the West keep throwing a lifeline to these mass murdering tyrants?
For their own benefit, they try to do that. I agree with Elham. We don't want a President Trump negotiated regime, but we don't want to bombing the Iranian people as well. If they cannot help the Iranian people, at least they can leave them alone. The people can overthrow the regime themselves. If you can help the Iranian people. Don't bomb them. If you cannot help them, stay aside. The people are going to take care of the regime. The people are going to do that. I have a belief in the power of the people. I believe the people of Iran, many times, they get to the moment they can overthrow this regime. West or international community, they jump in and save this regime. They like to have a naive regime in the region instead of they have the secular or the independent, powerful country in the region. The West and international community, they like the either puppet regime or the naive regime, be isolated. They can control them different ways.
From poet to president, Václav Havel in Czechoslovakia was a political prisoner, all of a sudden became, not all of a sudden, but eventually became president when the country was liberated. If our prayers are answered and Iranian people free themselves and overthrow the mullahs, Elham, if you get a phone call and they ask you, come back and help lead Iran, would you go back?
Of course, if I feel that I can help my people and if I can make a good change, definitely I will go.
Roozbeh?
I can say if they ask me for help, I can go help them, but I'm going to come back here. I'm not looking for any position there. But the only wish I have as a former opposition leader, I like one day I have a chance with the person who studied the law. I can come back Iran. In the Iranian court, I can see Khamenei in the justice with the fair trial with his legal team and fair jury with the panel of the Iranian judges. I can act as a prosecutor and ask a panel of judges request for execution of the Khamenei. I can stay to make sure the execution going to be done and I come back here in Westwood.
Wow.
Westwood is my final destination. This is my home.
But these leaders need to face punishment like a Nuremberg trials, right?
Yes, but with hand of Iranian people, not international court. I don't believe in international court. That's a corrupt system. I believe the Iranian judges, they can judge and they can have a better fair trial. And I trust myself to be a good prosecutor there.
Elham, if Netanyahu and President Trump were on a conference call and called you and said, we'd like some advice, what should we do going forward? What advice would you give them?
Don't negotiate with devil. That would be my only comment.
Okay. Roozbeh?
I agree with Elham. I'm sure the Netanyahu is not going to negotiate with them, but I ask President Trump, don't trust the terrorists, don't negotiate with the hostage takers, believe in American values, and also don't bomb the people. Don't waste our taxpayers' money other side of globe.
Okay. Just very briefly, in case you didn't get your main point across or want to say something, just final words from you, Elham.
Oh, thank you.
Would you like to make some final words?
My final word is we are hoping that voice of Iranian will be heard from Western world. Again, we don't expect any interfere. Again, I'm not asking for another military invasion. This is not what we are looking for. We are hoping that the regime doesn't draw us to this war again. So we are hoping that people of Iran stood up against this regime and make it, difficult for them to draw us to another war. And hopefully soon we see a real change, a regime change in Iran.
Okay, Roozbeh, final words?
I think you have the entire Iranian diaspora or opposition group vision in your program. I think Elham and we cover entire Iranian opposition idea, and we represent entire community, I think, because half of the community Elham represent and other half I represent technically. So we already talk about everything. And thank you, Jamie, for this
Fantastic.
opportunity. And
Just
we
be,
can show we are civilized people. We can be disagree, and still we're gonna be fighting the same regime together.
let's just end on this here, and I'll let you go. I'm sure you guys need a little bit of rest. Elham, despite your disagreement with Roozbeh, what are a few things about him that you admire?
So he's a freedom fighter. Yeah, I believe that he's making mistake right now, but I know that he has his heart is for Iranian people, for Iran, and I admire that.
And Roozbeh, what are some nice words you would say about Elham?
Elham and be fighting against this regime shoulder to shoulder for almost, I don't want to say how many years, but more than quarter century. We're fighting together, and I believe she is a trusted person and person we can trust and fight together and make sure you're never going to be betrayed. And she is a great leader, and I think she needs to just don't lose the hope and keep and believe in the power of the Iranian people.
Okay, well, the New Testament tells me blessed are the peacemakers, so that's what I'm trying to do here. Okay, so we got to go, but there's so many people that love you and they want to support you, maybe get involved. Elham, where can people find you to support you?
I'm active on Instagram with my own name and Facebook, and I'm active on social media.
Okay, so they'll find you on social media, Elham Yaghoubian. And Roozbeh, where do people find you? At your wonderful restaurants?
And they can come to my restaurant. They can find me on social media, on the ground. That's not hard for the people to find me. So
Yes.
if anybody needs to find me, they can Google my name. They can find me.
I heard that you're also a great chef.
Unfortunately, no. That's a misinformation come from the media.
Okay, you just kind of oversee the cooking. Okay. Well, look, thank you so much for joining the Glazov Gang tonight. I just want to end on a little very special sacred note here. I arrived in Los Angeles 15 years ago, a little bit disoriented, didn't know what to do. I had a dream of starting a talk show, and there was a man named Roozbeh that helped me get it started. And so, Roozbeh, you have a very special place in my heart. And because our other wonderful guest started this underground movement with you, Elham, I feel that you guys are spiritually connected, so you also have a special place in my heart. You are the co-founders not only of an underground party, but you are the co-founders of the Glazov Gang, and I'm grateful to the both of you. God bless.
One thing that I've done is founding Iran-Israel Alliance of Nations, a group that I created in 2008, and in 2012 or 13, I established it as an organization. You were one of the first ones who gave me chance and interviewed me talking about this mission that those days seems to many idealistic. But that was the opportunity that you gave me to talk about my vision about the friendship and alliance between the two nations, Iran and Israel.
Well, it's my pleasure. I'm glad that we could end this discussion with gratitude and love of one another. Big hugs to you, and let's just keep praying, and let's hope the Iranian people find their freedom. Thank you for everything that you two do, and we'll see you soon on our show. Okay?
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Elham. Thank you, Jamie.
God bless you. Thank you for joining this very special edition of the Glazov Gang. Please share it everywhere. We'll see you soon. Good night.